Hi there, my name's Max. I'm a graduate student at Seoul National University, and my submission has to do with a few improvements for the Seoul Contact Tracing Survey. This is GS25. It's a convenience store that graduate students, especially those living in the international dorms here, often visit. And when you go there at the cash register, there is a clipboard where customers are supposed to write their name and their contact information, or they can scan a QR code to fill out the same online survey. This is required by Seoul's contact tracing law, but compliance is actually pretty low. The online survey is very cumbersome and it looks kind of dorky to be standing there on your phone doing it. And it also raises some privacy concerns about whether the data will be handled safely. On the other hand, it's very difficult to understand the survey and figure out which information goes where while you're standing in line. So as a result, many customers just skip the survey, or if they're asked, they'll say, oh, well, I did it on my phone already, right? So when we look at the survey that's currently being used, it contains way too many fields, and the format isn't the same if you go to different convenience store locations. Last month, the form I filled out said check here if you have a fever or a cough, right? And this month I went there and it said check here if you have no fever or cough. Very easy to make a mistake. It also asks for a lot of extraneous information that residents might not feel comfortable sharing. So perhaps this is an attempt to make the survey appear serious, but it can have the unintended effect of turning people away. Finally, respondents who feel hurried or maybe under pressure because there's people behind them in line or because they're hungry and they want to eat their food are less likely to respond accurately or legibly to the contents of the survey. So I'm going to show you my redesign in a moment, but first there are a couple of general changes I would make to make the paper survey easier to access. I would have 3 different stations where the clipboard is located, one at each entrance to the convenience store. And this clipboard should be easily visible as customers approach the store, so they have time to think, oh right, I got to do the survey. If they want to use their own pen, they can get their own pen. Some people are anxious about germs, right? The second thing I do, and this is the heart of my redesign, is make the paper survey easier to use. I created a Word document that automatically fills in the date, so all the employee needs to do is press print every morning, and it has that whole column pre-filled. I allow respondents to choose whether to give their email, their phone number, or a messaging ID as contact info rather than having to give just one or all 3 of them. And I don't require names. This isn't a directory, this isn't a mailing list, right? We just want a way to contact people in case a COVID case arises at that location. I would keep the online survey pretty much in its current form, but instead of using a QR code, which is kind of tricky and cumbersome to take a picture of, I would just use a short URL. So here you can see I've implemented the changes that I just described. Current survey, it's got a crap ton of columns, awkward QR code. In my version, we've pre-filled the date. There's an example row that you can follow along with super easily, and there's only 3 columns: the date, your contact information, and notes. If you're like me and you get seasonal allergies, you might feel uncomfortable when you're sniffling in the store, you can go ahead and clarify that here. And there's no more QR code, just a simple, short URL that anyone can enter on their phone. Some of the social benefits of implementing this redesign would be that there will be greater participation in the contact tracing program. There are fewer opportunities for business owners to misuse the contact tracing list to send out spam, right? Customers can choose a medium like email that's easy for them to set up a spam filter on. There's going to be a higher response rate when tracing contacts. This way you don't call someone who would prefer to be emailed. And finally, there's less waiting in line when you're in a hurry to get a snack in before your next class. Thank you.